Dave sitting down.
That's Uncle Dave on the bottom. I wasn't even an uncle back then.
But he was he was a bottom.
You know what? I was almost an uncle.
Something in the water taught me how to crawl. Something in the water taught me how to fall.
Well, hey, folks, welcome to another Something in the Water podcast. I'm your co-host, Uncle Dave Griffin.
I'm Sean Clark.
And our guest this time is Flintlock Annie.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
how's it going?
Let me introduce y'all personally. This is DeAnna, Brooke, Craven, Thornton, Verneau.
Yeah.
Just pick any one of those.
I wanted to make sure this was as complicated as possible for you.
Well, I'm sure they're all as important as the next one.
They are.
Yeah. And Mr. Daniel Parrish. Good to have y'all. Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And let's see, you said you were out of Albany?
Mm-hmm.
Albany.
Albany.
And Daniel?
That's close to New York, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the capital.
It's south side of New York. Where'd you say you?
Originally from Thomasville. I live around Pavo, outside of Moultrie these days.
Oh, okay.
So I'm on the north side of Pavo.
Because you're fancy.
Because I'm fancy.
Pavo is the home of the wrist wrestling champion of the world, Cleve
Dean.
Dean.
That's
How did
it.
you randomly know that, Dave?
I know Cleve Dean.
Oh.
I knew him. He
yeah.
passed on a couple of years ago.
He wouldn't fit in this room.
He was a turned up big man. Now, back in the day, I used to play music in a nightclub band, and our stomping grounds was Valdosta, you know. Mm-hmm. Our lead singer that we backed up was from Albany originally. His name was Eddie Middleton. And we based out of Valdosta at the King of the Road is right there on I-75, big, beautiful place. But you would pull in on the weekends, you would pull in folks from North Florida to South Georgia, you know. Moultrie, Hayhire, Quitman, Thomasville, Homerville, Pavo was included in there, you know. But Cleve was a big fan, and he started coming out there, and this was before he rose to stardom with the wrist wrestling. He was all over a wide world of sports and all those.
All the strongman competitions.
Strongman competitions and all.
Then he was in the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, right.
He was actually, the way I hear the story, he was so big that he couldn't be the champion against Rocky, Sylvester, because it wouldn't look real. But he had a cameo shot in the movie. So.
Wow. Just as humble old feller, just soft-spoken and everything, but he was big, and he could hurt you if he wanted to, I'm sure. But he was a big fan of Eddie Middleton and the Down Home Band, and one weekend he showed up. His wife had homemade him a T-shirt, a fan T-shirt with the group name on it. It was funky. Very amateurish and everything, but it on him, it looked like it was probably the biggest T-shirt she could find, but it was still stretched, and bulge and everything. But anyhow, yeah, that's random knowledge. Cleve Dean, not so random when you know him.
That's it.
Yeah, but that's Pavo. But now you hail from Albany.
Mm-hmm. Yep, born and raised.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we were talking about that earlier. my daddy was stationed there in the Air Force back in the early 60s. And so my Albany and your Albany was two different things, I'm sure.
Yeah. It definitely changed in the late 70s, early 80s. And then it kind of continued into the 90s. And they've tried several times to, rebuild that downtown area. We've got the Turtle Park and the Ray Charles Plaza, and we've got the fancy hotel. But it's still just really hard to keep people coming downtown. But they do a pretty good job of trying to have, little events down there like the Mardi Gras and the Fridays on the Flint. Wow. So they're starting to bring acts back to the Civic Center finally, because it sat empty, for years, just falling apart. So
I saw Stevie Wonder there back in the 80s.
That's what everybody tells me. Oh, I saw Heart back when, Heart was huge, and I've seen all these great people, and I was like, God, I missed out on the best era of music coming to Albany.
And what's it called? The Civic Center? The
Civic Center, the James H. Gray Civic Center. Yeah, it's pretty big.
Right on the Flint, isn't it?
Yep, it's right on the river.
It's right on the other side. After you cross one of those bridges, it's right on the left.
Yeah, it's a pretty big complex.
So tell us about Flintlock Annie.
Does the river come into, or is that just no?
It was kind of a secondary situation, because he's not on the Flint. I'm on the Flint.
Yeah. But I got a house on the Flint. Thank you.
That's true.
They just call it Lake Blackshear at that point.
That's true. So you're Flint people too. But I was kind of raised on that river. Fishing in that river, swimming in that river. My family was baptized in that river.
Okay.
Because we've been in the area since like the 1850s. But it was kind of one of those things. We were knocking around band names like, we don't want to sound like nerds, but we don't want to, we want to sound authentic.
It's a good Americana name.
It's a good name.
Yeah. And it was one of those things that we were knocking things around, and I was like, oh, like Apocalypse Annie, because we wanted that kind of toughness of the band to come through.
I think my response was, I don't mind Annie.
I cannot spell apocalypse. I think that's what you said. Nobody can spell apocalypse. And so at one point I was just like guns, something from the South. And apparently I did not know until I went to thesaurus.com that a flintlock is a gun. And that's basically how it come about. Is I went to thesaurus.com and Google, just checked what's another word for gun. Yeah. And it just kind of happened that way. And I mentioned it to him, and he was like, that's perfect. Let's stick with it. I wish it was a better story, actually.
Well, that's good.
Well, I don't know if y'all have ever Googled yourselves, but I was looking for images, and I came across it. I thought this would be fun to share with y'all and to any of y'all out there viewing today. But these are the many variations on Annie, band names with the name Annie in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just start at the top and pull them up one by one.
Hard time these guys for.
No. It was just
Are you questioning my authenticity?
Not at all. I was mining for images of y'all. I always try to leave no stone unturned. All right. Now this is y'all now.
No, that's not us. No, I'm just kidding.
I like
hide
this.
that beard anywhere.
Is it up? Is it on there now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on there.
I didn't know if it'd go to the top up there.
I'm trying to bring it up there.
That's Justin Mercer, our producer. There he is.
There we go.
He's usually sitting over there, but when we have two, he's got to sit over here.
Where is
That's a
even
nice
that
picture.
I don't even.
That's at my cabin.
No, I didn't know it was on the internet.
I may have found this on the Google
OnlyFans?
Google Images.
You found my OnlyFans page?
I've heard you make good money on OnlyFans.
Hey, I'm doing all right. Do you like feet?
Looks like Joey and I are gazing into each other's eyes.
No, but Captain Stan does. All right, now hit the. We got Alabama Annie.
Ooh, I like the way that sounds.
We got Anxious Annie.
They look kind of anxious.
We got Atomic Annie.
See, Apocalypse,
I
you were
wasn't too
almost
far.
there.
I may have even looked
That's
at
all
Atomic
girls.
Annie.
That's
yeah.
all girls there. We got what was it? Automatic Annie. They're from the UK. This is the Dreamboat Annie tribute band.
Oh, I would watch that.
Crap.
The names aren't there, huh?
Oh, the names are at the underneath the file there.
Faithful.
Faithful Annie.
My beard started to have a little gray like that one time too, and then it took over.
Fast Annie. That's what they called me in high school.
That should be your OnlyFans.
Oh, so you've seen it.
That should be your OnlyFans name. Okay, now this is cool. Now this one showed up on Google, and they're a band from y'all's area, but it showed up when I typed in y'all's name.
Yeah.
And then when I dug a little deeper, they're called
Jackson County Line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that was a mix up on the internet.
well,
Not-
we're really good friends with them.
Y'all may have been in an article or something
Probably
where
so.
you were both mentioned.
And anytime I'm in an interview, Kevin Jackson in the Hat is he was influential in getting me started in music. That was the first
cool.
band I ever ran sound for. I was in college. I needed $1. And they're like, hey, you know how to run sound? I'm like, I know car audio. That's it. And well, you're hired. And so then you get paid $25, free beer and chicken, and let's go do some sound. And so his college band I was working for at the time. And then I wanted to start learning how to play guitar and stuff. And so I'd sneak down to the studio. He'd show me a few chords. And so that's how I got started in music, was through Kevin. But if y'all need to get them in here. They're a fabulous folk rock band.
And they're called
Jackson County Line.
Jackson County Line. His name is
Kevin Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah. They're out of the Atlanta
Country?
area. It's a folk, Americana folk rock thing.
I'll have to check them out.
Really
and
good.
see what they sound like.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I titled that picture Flintlock Annie. I don't think so.
But really
now
not
it's,
that far off, because one of our
Gin
songs.
Annie. Gin Annie.
Gin Annie.
Yeah, Gin Annie.
Oh God.
It's Gin Annie.
This is
Hey.
what is these guys? Hey
Hey.
Annie. Hey Annie.
He's got my guitar case.
Another all-girl band.
Looks like Mustang Sally.
Indianis.
Oh, that's cute though.
Indie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it INDY? They're from Indiana anyhow, and it's just one of them things where it's the double meaning all over again.
Right.
Spent all their money on the guitars.
They got that guitar matches the lead singer's hair. These guys look serious.
Jug Hill.
Jug Hill Annie. Hey. Nickel Annie.
We need to redo our logo.
I know, that's cute.
Willie Annie.
Willie Annie.
Annie Nelson.
Willy nilly Annie.
Who is that now?
It says shooting with.
Shooting with Annie. That's a different name.
Huh.
Oh God, Sideshow Annie. And the funny thing is, many of these Annie, Steamboat Annie, these Annie bands have females in them too.
Right.
So it's, I guess you got a name with Annie in it.
I like y'all's the best of it.
Thank you.
Oh, now
Thank you.
these guys we've had at festival here, Tattoo Annie.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Tattoo Annie Project, actually, but we met these guys at a festival up around mid-Georgia, Curly Fest. And I was struck by these guys, the originality and everything. They just really laid it on. Yeah. The Hootin' Annies,
That's cute too.
I think they're from Ireland. Dublin. Triple Annie.
There's 4 of them.
You just went on down the
That makes sense.
quadruple Annie.
Tugboat Annie.
You went down the rabbit hole with this.
You really did. I had no
They
idea.
were just all there, and I had to find, I had to use it. Vigilante.
That's also
Okay.
really cute.
Yeah.
We brought y'all here to just tell you how many other
Now I feel horrible.
No, it wasn't meant to feel horrible. I just thinking that I thought it was funny.
Uncle Ego Killer.
Now
Yeah. I worked for years on that name.
how did the Pistol Annies not show up in that
Yeah,
song?
that's what I'm thinking.
That's one of my wife's favorite bands.
I love
didn't
them.
even dawn on me, but they
Yeah.
didn't show up in
They
the
didn't show
initial
up.
drop down.
Yeah, and that kind of came to me after the fact. I'd mentioned it to him, and I was like, okay, so this is the name we're sticking with. And it come to me a few days later. I was listening to, I don't know, Outlaw Country or something like that, and Pistol Annie's came on. I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. How did I forget about this? But, I mean, we're still rolling with it,
yeah.
so,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
All the drunk chicks will come up there in the show and they're like, now Flint Rock Annie. I'm like, it's
yeah.
not Flint Rock.
Hey, whatever.
Oh, Flint Rock.
Yeah.
Rock.
Okay.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Pine Top all the time. Pine Top dwelling.
Oh boy. Well, that was fun.
That's a
So, how long y'all been
That's
Flintlock
weird.
Annie now?
Almost a year?
no. We were. This was
years.
June of 20.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost 2 years.
Oh, COVID.
That COVID had me lose a
it
year. I
slowed
swear.
everything down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So tell us about your musical styles and influences and how you came.
On the way over here, we were listening to Marilyn Manson
Heck yeah.
and Eminem and Roxanne Shante, if you remember her. See, she did.
I don't know that one.
I don't know that one.
She was an old like 80s rapper.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, with Willie Nelson, the whatever.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
sounds like that's riding down the road. We listen to everything.
I mean,
Yeah.
y'all covered the Beastie Boys, so you know it's all good. It's good. It's good. But I don't know. It's mine's more the Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, that type of country, Texas country, and then like I said, I'm a huge gangster rap fan. So anywhere in between, we're good. But as far as the band goes, it's really like a grungy Americana.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
We,
with some country
yeah, country
thrown in for flavor,
and some soul.
and it was
She's
kind
got
of and I my voice kind of lends itself more to soul and maybe blues, and I was kind of eclectic in my music as well, and he's way more eclectic than I am. But what come out in our songwriting was something so different than the stuff that we actually listen to, and it just meshed well, so good together. But
Y'all
yeah,
both right?
yeah. He had a couple of CDs, a couple of albums, and I would go sit in with him from time to time at his shows, and he would come and watch my band play sometimes. And I really loved what he was doing. And when my band broke up, I was kind of just left, and I don't know what to do not playing music. I've been doing it since I was 17. I've always been in a band.
Yeah.
So to have a whole 3 months without a band, I was just like, what am I doing with my life? And then he was like, come and sit in with me. And I came and sat in, and we were both kind of like, well, why aren't we doing this together? And I was like, I don't know, let's do it. And not too long after that, we sat down and did our first song together. And so he had his songs that he brought from his 2 CDs. And then I had songs that I've been working on for years that didn't really have a platform because I was in a cover band doing 80s and 90s music. So,
And the name of that band?
Meow Ka-Pow.
Yeah. That's how I
Meow
met you.
Yeah,
first.
that's how we met. That's how I became a Pine Box Dwellers fan.
They told me Pine
Yeah.
Top.
That is not what I said. Don't you make Connor mad at me.
Big Pine Fest and all that.
Yep.
Big Pine Fest. There's a lot of pines floating around. Well, so then y'all probably already had a group or somebody on call or whatever.
He had my bass player.
I had a group. She had a group, and the bass player played with both groups, and he got around pretty good.
Yeah.
So he would go from this rock scene to this Americana scene seamlessly. You know? So, but yeah, so I brought in my I'd kind of fallen out with every lead guitarist that I had at the time. Not bad falling out, but just like it just,
Didn't work.
they had other things, wasn't working out, whatever. And so Matt Akins, our pedal steel player, he had come back into town. He'd been on the road with some other acts up and around Nashville and stuff. And so anyway, he come back into town. I said, "Hey, you want to play some leads?" And so he came in, brought his steel, and was playing with me. And then, like we said, we shared the bass player. And so I brought Matt and the bass player, and then she brought
Me and my bass player and the drummer.
and the drummer.
Yeah, and the drummer.
And so we just kind of.
It seems like it's a very even keeled. You both brought contributions were just flat even all the way. I love. I googled y'all's videos, and they're all very earthy. Just a real straight from the Flint River.
And that was kind of the intention. Yeah. Like I said, I was raised on country music, but all of the bands I'd ever been in weren't really country. We were doing stuff like 99 Red Balloons, and it was pop, good bar dance music.
Nina?
Yeah, yeah.
Nina.
I loved doing
with
that
the
song.
hairy underarms.
Is it? I didn't know that.
That was straight from that video in 1984.
80 something.
80, might have been 83.
We're going to watch that video on the way.
Nina, 99 red balloons.
Yeah.
She was German or something like that.
Yeah, because I think it was the song is done in German also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it was kind of one of those things that when we got together, I really wanted to go for that authenticity because I had been in a cover band doing what it was comfortable enough. But to me, it wasn't me. And so I wanted to be able to be with somebody that had that same feeling with the same kind of sound. And that's when, and when we put it together, it was just like, oh, it just worked out perfectly. And that's kind of one of our things is we wanted to remain authentic, original, and, keep that going in everything we do.
And even in the cover songs that we do, we don't do them right.
Yeah,
We just do the way we want to do them.
the way that y'all interpret it.
Yeah, exactly. The way we interpret it. Yeah.
That's awesome. We're going to get y'all to play some for us today, too.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So let's see. I was wanting to talk to you a little bit about, two things. DeAnna is my wife's name.
Oh,
Yeah,
how
so-
did we not know that already? Okay.
No, she goes by her middle name, but
What's her middle name?
Lynn.
That is my middle name.
Oh,
I am not lying.
let me make a note of that.
Yeah, that's how I know when I was
If
in
you-
trouble with my mama. DeAnna Lynn. It's like, oh God, what did I do now?
If you spell it with an E,
Nope.
okay, I was
I
fixing
know
to
it'd
freak
get a little,
out.
it'd get a little spooky.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with DeAnna Lynn Brooke Craven Thornton Verneau.
I've only been married 7 times, so I didn't keep all of the names.
That was illegal in Georgia at a certain point.
Not if you're related to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had to go to Alabama.
Oh, I was another thing I was wanting to ask you about was Albany. From 60 to 64, I was there, and like we talked about, it's changed a lot. It's grown a lot. Number one, there's big bypass out there, but back in the 60s, the early 60s, it was just Highway 84, and we lived on the east side of Albany as you're coming into Albany.
Oh, 82.
82.
Yeah,
I
yep.
always get them mixed up. B&S Trailer Park, I think it's still there.
It is still there.
Yeah.
I think it's like B&S and then Pine Knoll Trailer Park.
wow.
I may have, run those
But
trailer parks back in the day.
It was thriving back
Right down from Kitty's
back
Flea
in those
Market.
days. Yeah. And a lot of good memories were made there. It was, Lot 48 there. And of course, let's see, right up the road on the left was Sylvester Road Elementary, where
I went to school there.
you did? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
So where you went?
Yeah. Yeah, I went to 3 different elementary schools in Albany. I guess Sylvester Road was just built when we were there.
Oh, okay.
So in '63, I think, was when it was brand new, and we all were right up the road. So that was,
Yeah, that all of that area that you're talking about is my old stomping grounds.
It was.
That's where I grew up. Yep.
Awesome. Well, my other recollection is a little further in. There was a place called 5 Points, and you branched off to the left and went to Radium Springs and the Marine Base. And right there in the fork of the branch was the Albany Drive-In. And that's probably gone, probably
I think it's a Hardee's now.
torn down now.
Yeah.
That's where I saw many movies as a child. And right beyond that, there was 2, it forked again. You could go left to the Marine Base. Then you had a left-hand fork that went over one bridge, which is probably where the Coliseum is, or the Civic Center. And then you had another inside road that cut down this way and went over another Flint River Bridge to downtown. And right as you got near that right-hand fork, as you got right there on the right was a little old barbecue joint or a foot-long hot dog or something like that. And they had a neon pig running on it on the sign there. We used to love that.
I wonder if that was the old Pig and Whistle.
It was. That was it. Pig and Whistle.
Yeah. That is not a liquor store now, but we do have a liquor store that is called the Pig and Whistle. But I've heard of that place. I don't think I ever saw it, though.
And a little further down on that road, just before you crossed the Flint River, there was either a pecan company there, or it might have been a meat processing thing. But boy, that smell was just overwhelming. It smelled like meat to me, but it could have been nuts. I don't know.
Well, now we still have, if you go to certain areas, we've got the M&M Mars, and we live not too far from M&M Mars, and on certain days, that's when they're cooking the peanuts. And I mean, the whole south side of Albany smells like peanuts.
They got candy manufacturing.
I don't know
now?
what they make at that M&M Mars, but they definitely cook a lot of peanuts there, and it smells great.
That's a good smell.
And there was Sears and Roebuck right across one of those Flint River bridges that we used to visit. Seemed like every Saturday.
Yeah.
It's where I bought one of my first albums years ago. Me and my brother pooled our money together, and we bought The Four Seasons with Frankie Valli. It was Walk Like a Man, Big Girls Don't Cry, and 12 other hits.
That's a pretty good first album. That's a pretty good bop.
It wasn't bad. I always did love them singing groups, vocal groups, sing harmonies.
Confused by the walk like a man but sing like a woman.
Walk like a man.
Yeah.
Sing like a woman.
And I guess the last fond memory of Albany is Slappy Drive.
Cruising Slappy.
I just remember it because we'd eventually, and that seemed like the edge of town, which I guess it was.
It was,
back then.
yeah.
And they had one of the first time we ever visited one of these strange and peculiar things called a shopping center.
That's the Brooks. I think it was called back then the Midtown Shopping Center.
Midtown Shopping
and
Center.
now it's the Brooks Plaza. But
Thinking
about that.
Thinking to you, the Brooks.
Nope. We are not that rich. Like I said, we came from the trailer parks on the east side, so no relation.
Now, years later, when we right before we first got with Eddie Middleton in '75, our band over here in Waycross was booked to play the Jolly Fox.
I've heard about that
Slappy.
place. Yeah, I don't know where it was.
Yeah, it was.
My mom could probably tell us.
You T-bone into Slappy Drive, and you either go right or left, and to the right would have been Midtown. And Jolly Fox would have been down on the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd only heard about it, never.
It didn't go very well. I remember I had a bad cold, And we started out there. Back in those days, you usually played Monday through Saturday. And we started out with our brand of entertainment was a lot of Doobie Brothers, Eagles, Orleans. And this was right when disco was first entering the scene, you know. And the most played song on the jukebox in the Jolly Fox was, they'd play it over and over again, was David Bowie, Fame. Over and over again, I heard that. And
You know who he co-wrote that with?
I do. Y'all know? One of the Beatles.
Huh.
And he sang on it too.
John Lennon.
John, yeah. David Bowie and John Lennon. And the owner, the manager of the Jolly Fox came to us on Tuesday and said, boys, I'll pay y'all to leave. And it wasn't that we sucked. It's just that that's not what his crowd wanted to hear.
They weren't feeling it.
We were killing it in Waycross, you know, but over in Albany, they had already turned the page to disco, I guess.
Wow.
Sad times. That's what happened. Disco happened, and then Albany just went.
Oh, so what's your history? You said you started playing at 15?
17.
17, okay.
Like I was telling Sean earlier, my ex-husband is actually the drummer for Bo Dean and the Poachers.
Okay.
And I'd always just kind of like sang in my bedroom, you know, and then I met Todd, and his dad, Mike Fox, had been in music in Albany for years and years and years. And, of course, you know, teaching all of his best tricks to his son, Brandon. So me and Brandon and Todd and their dad started a band. And I remember at one point I was just telling him, you know, I sing, you know, and I was just kind of like, these guys are awesome. You know, they're so talented. Todd could sing and play drums like it was nothing. Brandon just tearing it up. Mike just tearing it up. And he was like, okay, well, you know, do something for us, sing for us. And I was like, I'm really into Whitney Houston right now. So, and I Will Always Love You was huge when it came back out. Excuse me. And I was like, I've been jamming on this song. So he started playing the Dolly version and I started singing the Whitney version. And he started to cry. And I was literally just like...
That bad, huh?
Yeah, I was mortified. I was mortified. I was shaking, literally shaking in my shoes. Yeah. And then we kind of get done and he just looks at me. He's like, girl, you can sing. And I was like, well, I told you I could sing. He was like, no, you can sing. And so I started singing with Todd and Brandon and his dad and my mom's now husband, which was their bass player. That's how my mom met her husband, Steve Owens. So we played in a band and we did typical kind of, you know, Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, you know, Molly Hatchet, Allman Brothers type stuff, you know, which, you know, that's just the music that people were listening to. So, you know, at 17, me and Brandon are not allowed to be in bars, but there we are, you know, and neither one of us were drinking. We were being pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, if there was a bar somewhere in Albany, we were going to play it. We played in Douglas, Tifton, little tiny towns in between. But you know, once it kicked off, it was just like, this is great. I've got people yelling at me, telling me I'm great. And at that time, I actually played the flute. So yeah, I was a marching band nerd. Hush your mouth. But when I'd break out that flute to do some Marshall Tucker, those grown, huge men in the bars would lose their minds. They would lose their minds if we broke out the flute, and that's how it all started. We started playing, and you know, eventually, me and Todd got divorced. We got a couple of kids out of the situation. We're still friends. I go listen to his band. He comes and listens to mine. But that's how it started. It all started with the Fox family. Yeah. Thank you, Fox family.
Yeah. Now they didn't have anything to do with the Jolly Fox then.
No, okay. I'm sure Mike played there back in the day though, because I know I've heard the name. Yeah. So
right. Well, you certainly picked a winner for that debut song to audition with. I mean, that was absolutely perfect. And of course, I mean, it was all up to you. You having the talent and everything to pull that off, because that ain't no easy task.
Yeah, that's a hard
Either
song,
Dolly
so.
or Whitney.
I must say I could not do that today, you know, for sure. But back then when my vocal cords were young and prior to cigarettes and whiskey, it wasn't that difficult.
Before they got all Flintlock.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Daniel, what about you? What's your earliest entry into the world of music, or was it like many of our guests are so different? Somebody was a child of 4 or something, you know, and then somebody like me, I didn't pick it up till I was out of high school.
That was me. I played piano, took some lessons when I was, I don't know, 8, somewhere in that age range. My mother is a great pianist, and so she wanted me to play piano, so I was trying to play piano, and
Did she teach you?
No, she took me to
Somebody
else. I mean, I can
generally
chord,
works better that
I
way.
can chord a piano to death, but that's about it. I can't play one, and I lost interest.
You
in
say
it.
you can chord
one.
to death.
That's about it. Just lost interest in it, and looked at the guitar. I think they picked me up a guitar that had a neck kind of bowed like that, and I said, "This is too hard to play." So I put that down, and like you, I was in college. Like I said, we were in college. Kevin Jackson showed me first couple of chords that I knew. So I was in college when I first picked up a guitar. I'd always been interested in writing, though. So poetry and things like that had always been, more my speed as far as that goes. And then, got into the production side and running sound for bands and doing that end of it. Mm-hmm. And then worked my way into the music side. The performance side. So yeah, I was a late bloomer. So
my story's way cooler. I'm just gonna put that out for you.
That's all good.
Yeah, everybody comes at it from a different angle.
That is very true. Yeah.
That is for sure. But there's so many similarities in all of us, too.
Working, running sound, that gives you a different perspective on it, because I've done that too. But I started out playing, and then it's like, why is all these sound guys so mean? And then I started helping run sound with.
That goes out to you, Paul Lee.
Then I saw the other side of it, and I'm like, oh. And then, okay, so this band is not doing stuff right. They're not setting up right, or they're not, whatever. And I got to see a little bit of both sides.
Or they're not paying attention. When you're like, okay, let's check monitors, and you can't get their attention. And it's aggravating, because my chicken's over there getting cold. If we'd hurry up and get back to that,
Like getting to work,
I feel personally attacked.
Well, no, but the other half of your band, that goes straight
she
out
is
to
still
Disco
over there
Superstar.
talking. She won't shut up.
But no, that's it. It's funny too, saying that. I mean, she's always like, let's go to a concert. I'm like, am I getting paid?
Yeah.
Then no. So like I said, you find yourself walking in and just kind of looking around, and why did they put the lights this way? Why did they set the speakers this way? Ooh, that's terrible.
It's like a tall man walking into a bathroom. He's like, this is crooked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think last time we were at a concert, and he just politely put his little earbuds in, just looking at the sound guy like,
This is no joke, though. The opening act, I don't know who was doing what, but they didn't know how to run that Digico board back there. And the next thing I know, one of the line array speakers is just flopping up there. It was terrible. So, yeah.
I had fun. I was like, I don't hear any problems.
I'm taking my son graduates this year, and his favorite band is one of my old favorite bands, and so he's never been to a big concert. I'm taking him to see Nine Inch Nails and Franklin, Tennessee.
Wow!
I saw him at the Fox 30 years ago, so it's gonna be fun.
I didn't know Trent was still touring.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I didn't know he was either. I was kind of looking at some of the other bands that he wanted to see, and I didn't really care. It was like, I'm too old for this, but I was trying to find something. And then I saw that they were touring. I was like, oh, this is going to be the one.
Heck yeah!
Nice.
That sounds awesome.
Franklin, Tennessee. At some I can't remember the name of the auditorium. It's outside, and
That's
it's
right outside.
It's kind of Red Rocks-ish. It's got a mountain wall around you.
Wow.
It's gonna be cool.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if it's the caverns
Up
there, because I know that I think
That's underground.
I can.
Yeah.
I can't remember what.
Wouldn't
I
that
don't-
be cool?
I don't think that's in the title because I thought it was going to be an inside place when I was looking at the map of where we were going to be sitting, and then when I saw the picture, I was like, "Oh, this is cooler than I thought." I can look it up real quick. I didn't mean to sidetrack us with
Kind
this.
of Red Roxy.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to Red Rocks at some point in time.
Yeah, me too. Let's see.
it's a cool venue.
You've been?
We watched Government Mule and String Cheese Incident, and it was transcendent. It really was.
Well, you're right in the thick of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rocks.
First Bank Amphitheater. It does not sound like doesn't sound
That
cool.
put it into perspective.
But
Well, they're all named after corporations.
Yeah, they are.
nowadays.
but it looks pretty cool.
Do y'all need a driver or anything? Can I sit out in the parking lot and wait on you?
Well, there's 2 tickets. You had to buy 2 or 4.
Ain't he the one, Trent Reznor, didn't he do that song, I want to mess your face up like an animal?
Yeah, that's
Pretty,
exactly
that's how it
it.
goes.
That's pretty much it.
Didn't somebody tell you that while you were in Savannah this past time?
Unfortunately.
I'm gonna mess your face up like an animal.
Yeah, and then I turned on him and laughed right in his face and tased him. No, I did not. But somebody else did. And that old saying about the bigger they are, the harder they fall. He was a big man and he fell hard on River Street.
Did you get any satisfaction from watching him fall?
No, it was all disconcerting to me. The whole thing was because it came out of nowhere. You know, we were just casually walking down the street and talking about Savannah Smiles Piano Bar, and I heard this voice over my shoulder as he entered the scene with his girlfriend. And I heard this voice coming over my shoulder saying, "What y'all talking about?" And I thought, well, sir, Savannah Smiles. And he just, then I saw the look in the eyes, you know, and he was way out there, way up there, out there. And that's when he came deranged and said, "I will mess your face up like an animal." And before I could even collect myself as to how to respond to that,
the danger
you know,
that you were in.
the danger that I was in,
You're sitting there
imminent.
still smiling.
I'm still talking about Savannah Smiles, and I'm smiling, and I'm thinking, well, we're getting a native from Savannah who
He'll show us the
may
way.
be able to direct us to the place. Instead, he directed an insult and
That's a nice way to
threat.
put it.
He directed a threat toward my head. And it came in loud and clear, but it wasn't registering. It was all very surreal. And before I had time for him to do any damage to me, the cops were right there. And evidently somebody had already called them in because he had been a public nuisance already to somebody, and the police were called, and it was fortunate for me that Savannah Men in Blue were on the job, so they escorted him immediately away from me and my wife, and it was a fun night.
Well, let's take a break and come back and hear some Flintlock Annie music. But,
Hey, we'll be right back, folks.
Something in my brain won't let me stray. Something in my veins gonna find its way. Something in the water taught me how to pray. When that cold black water finds its way into your veins,
All right, we're back on Something in the Water. We got Flintlock Annie. What's your first song we got here?
Got a little tune's called Absent Cowboy. It's written by my cousin Jeff Hill. He's got a screamo band, hardcore progressive punk, I think is what they call it. Machinist is the name of the band. But anyway, he's the lead screamer, and he came to me and said, I got you a song that Flintlock Annie could play. And I'm like, I don't think you do, buddy. And so anyway, he started coming up with the melody and the words for me. I was like, okay, so I put some chords to it and came up with the song. But it's
Did he write the lyrics?
he did, and it's when you hear it, you have to pull up Machinist and listen to some of their stuff later,
Right.
and then compare it to what you're hearing him do here, and it's night and day. But
Yeah,
again,
it is.
So this is called
Absent Cowboy.
Absent Cowboy.
Well, Jeff didn't know it. He wrote a song about my daddy.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
Daddy went missing.
And by the way,
Oh, he didn't go missing. He ran. He knew what he was doing.
even if this song had been screamo, she could have handled
I
it.
think I could have been. Yeah, it could have been fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Absent Cowboy.
They called you an outlaw on TV. They whispered your name in church. Aunt Etta packed up your belongings one day while Mom was at work. I was just too young to get it. I still asked, well, where had you gone? I went through your stuff in the attic, wondering why you had done wrong. 'Cause when you said forever, you meant wherever the wind may take me, son. And I'm not that clever. The truth is I never had to live life on the run. Well, months turned years and I grew up. Cars, college boys, and the rest. Mama, she got remarried and moved with her husband out west. Well, I got to thinking about you and how you got off scot-free. What kind of bastard you must be to never have come back for me. 'Cause when you said forever, you meant wherever the wind may take me, son. And I'm not that clever. The truth is I never had to live life on the run. So here I am talking to no one, not a rock or the wind or a headstone. And Daddy, forget the distance. I see why you never came home. They chased you down to Mexico City. You ran till there was no more run. They shot your ass in Mexico City. You didn't bother to tell anyone. 'Cause when you said forever, you meant wherever the wind may take me, son. And I'm not that clever. The truth is I never had to live life on the run. And I'm not that clever. The truth is I never had to live life by the gun.
Hey.
Strong.
Thank you.
I think that was screamo.
Pretty much.
I can be a little loud.
Powerful.
That was good. And he wrote all the words.
Oh, yeah.
Was it just an idea? or was it based on reality?
No, this wasn't based on reality that I know of. It was based on her reality, is what I've been told. But
and he didn't even know it.
And he didn't know you. Okay.
but
Well,
yeah.
it's kind of like, Johnny Cash. He left all them daughters at home.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I think my dad ran off to Indiana when he found out I was born. I was like, it's kind of funny that you went to a state that has my name in it.
put together a girl band named the Indianas.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Very good. You got another one?
Yeah. Did we determine what?
No, we did not.
We did not. What do y'all want to hear?
Folks, send your cards and letters in and let us know what you want to hear. Okay, they've spoken loud and clear.
This one says free bird.
Free
Of
bird.
course it does.
This one says wagon wheel.
That's funny. Mine says hold on loosely. That's weird.
Y'all could do somewhere Alabama or not.
Yeah.
It's fine with me. Let's do it. Yeah, this little tune, I was going out to Mississippi to play at a friend's wedding, and my wife was driving and I was riding, and she says, she was like, look at the sunset, whatever. We're in the middle of Alabama, and I took a picture and posted it up on Twitter and was like, sunset in somewhere Alabama. And a couple hours later, she's still driving and I'm bored, and I'm like, and just started writing. So that's where that came from. At least I wasn't in the middle of Mississippi when I wrote it.
Just doesn't have that same ring to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my crooked letter, I. Heading out west along the South Lane, woman of my dreams sitting right there. Nothing between us, good conversation. The who, the what, the when, the where. She noticed the sun sinking just a little bit lower. Noticed that she was driving just a little bit slower. And we were watching the sunset in somewhere Alabama. Wanna take our time and make our way. We were watching the sunset in somewhere Alabama. Head on back to my road today. This crazy life that we're living seems to take us everywhere. Sometimes you got to just pull on over, smell the roses and taste the air. Don't blink, or this moment will be over. Intoxicated, but still sober. And we were watching the sunset in somewhere Alabama. Wanna take our time, make our way. We were watching the sunset in somewhere Alabama. Head on back to my road today. One thing led to another. Time seemed to slip right on by, and we were watching the sunrise in somewhere Alabama. Finally took our time, made our way. We were watching the sunrise in somewhere Alabama.
head on back to my road today. We can head on back to my road today. We were watching the sunset in somewhere around Alabama.
Right.
Well, I hear every influence y'all said at the beginning of the program, grunge, Americana, and country. I hear it all right there. That's beautiful. I like the line, heading back tomorrow today. What that means to me,
I want to hear this because
as
nobody
a
ever
listener,
asked.
is that you're in a state of constant putting off. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not.
Well, I am.
We can go home tomorrow, and if you say that every day, then you're never going home.
Right.
You know, that's what it means to me. You're
So-
in a
You
constant
gonna break the
state
news to him?
You're in a I'm wrong,
I
but
thought instead of
that.
going home tomorrow, we can go home today.
Right.
But why would you want to? It sounds like a
Yeah, I know.
blissful spot you found.
Absolutely. But what had happened was, so we were in Mississippi and we were coming back home, and the way we were driving home,
Oh, y'all were headed home.
yeah, we
Okay,
were
I got
heading home, but this was all right on the way there. Most of it. You know how songs are. You ain't got everything
Yeah,
quite where you need to
right,
be.
right,
But anyway,
right.
I wrote a lot of it on the way there. I wrote the hook on the way there. But on the way home, I noticed that the roads didn't quite look the same. But I was like, whatever. You know, strange place. We're just driving through. And GPS had decided to reroute us. And instead of going home, we're heading back up towards Atlanta. And so I get up there close to Atlanta and we find 75 and head back. And I said, well, at least we made it back tomorrow. And that's where that came from. So
Morrow,
Georgia. We made it back tomorrow today.
Well,
That's not where we were going.
Y'all just full of tricks.
So it was nothing artsy or anything. I wish it would have been.
And that's
pretty
also
cool.
one of the things that I really like about Daniel's songwriting is he has a way of being very clever with his words. And that was one of the things I was just like, he's a fantastic storyteller, a fantastic songwriter. So it makes me very happy when I listen to his songs that he's written and the stories behind them, because my interpretation when I bought his CDs were completely different too. I was like, get back tomorrow today. What is that about? Oh, it's just about Morrow, Georgia.
There it is.
GPS
Well, and-
sucks.
It's an explanation. That's who wrote the War Boys? Is that another one of yours?
I had the lyric and I couldn't come up with a melody for it. Everything I kept trying to write kept sounding like something else, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And so did we play that night or not? I can't remember.
I feel like I sat in with you.
Okay, so we'd have been up at the lake.
Yeah.
And
It's all a little blurry.
yeah, it was,
for me.
it was late night.
It's like a
Somebody
case of
was
beer.
Shit faced. But so we get back to the lake house after doing something, I don't know. And it's 2:00 in the morning probably, and my wife's gone to bed, her husband's gone to bed. We're assuming in separate beds. But so we
Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
yeah. So we're sitting out there on the back deck, and I was like, I got this song, got some words, and she was like, I said, but I don't really have anything. I'm looking for a melody. And she said, what have you got so far? And I was like, that's it. This is E minor shuffle thing. And she keep it going. And she ends up singing over the top of it. And then when her natural key change went, it took me to an A where I've been trying to go to a D. And I'm like, that doesn't quite sound like Neil Young anymore. Okay. And it worked out. And
She all wrote that one together.
Luckily, I thought to hit record.
So we
I was like, we wrote a song last night? What?
You'd have never known.
But that's where that that was the birth of Flintlock Annie,
Yeah,
I
it
guess, was that night.
Oh, it was that night.
Yep, it was that song.
And
that
y'all
night.
wrote a song actually.
Yeah.
On
Listen to
the
it.
birth.
Yeah, let's pull it
Yeah,
up
let's
there.
pull that one up. That ain't country.
Say, Grungy-kana.
I like the effect on your vocal.
That is not what we envisioned, but when it happened, I was like,
man, he's sort of distortion out there on the whatever.
"What's our YouTube video?"
Oh, is it? I thought it was something they put together. I never had this.
Is that you?
No. That's the guest picker we had.
Oh, he was badass.
I wish that was me.
Me too.
I didn't know if these are muted or not. My bad.
We can't say his name.
Colin Strickland.
Who?
Colin Strickland.
Colin Strickland.
Yeah, he is awesome.
And then Matt Akins there on our pedal
Matt
too.
Akins.
Yeah.
Also awesome.
He any kin to Red Akins? Wasn't he from Albany?
He was spelled differently. Yeah.
Oh man, I was wanting to hear that. Y'all tricked me.
It was funny though when I wrote the words to that. Like I said, I didn't have a melody. And my friend Kevin Jackson, you had pulled up earlier from Jackson County Line. We bounced stuff off each other all the time, and so I'd sent him the words. It was like, help me with the melody here. I'm kind of stuck, and because I had no clue what I wanted to sound like, he immediately called me, and he was like, it was a little out of my wheelhouse. And he was like, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah, I'm okay. Why? And he goes, "I'm just checking on you, man, making sure you're in the right headspace and everything." I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Why? And he's like, "Okay, I'm just making sure." So, but anyway, so yeah, that's out of my wheelhouse too. I can't help, and we're working on the chorus a little bit, and actually sent that off to Jeff Hill, the screamer, and I said, "Hey, help me with a chorus here. I want something that says rocking in the free world, but I can't use that. I just want something to drive it home." And
the lyrics
on the chorus itself,
or the melody?
the lyric on
Okay,
the
lyric.
chorus. And so he helped with that, and then it got a little wordy, and so I whittled down what he had. So he got a co-write on that as well.
What is it about? That strikes me as Gangs of New York, only in South Georgia. like a tribal type element. It's
Right.
not a real war.
Sure.
It's like,
See, and that's what I'm saying. The story for us was better because that was the birth of Flintlock Annie that night.
yeah.
But for me, I normally have a great story, or at least story for most songs. That one, I came home, I was pissed off with the world. I just had a bad day at work. Everything went wrong. I don't know what else to say, and it just came pouring out. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I kind of was taking it as a band going against the world or whatever.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking a stand and like, singing about what you
Yeah.
believe in and stuff.
Fight the man.
Exactly. Pearl Jam. Down
And
with
the
it.
Neil
Down with
Young,
it.
Neil Young
Master.
analogy,
Yeah.
Crazy Horse.
Yeah, I'm a
You know,
huge
that's
Neil
the
Young
grunge.
fan. So yeah,
That's grungier than most. Crazy.
Right.
Anytime he records with Crazy Horse,
yeah,
it's out there.
yeah. I'm a huge Neil fan.
And that was also, like we were talking about earlier, that was, when we went into the studio to record that, there were no effects. We didn't even think of putting effects on my voice. But when he sent us the CD, I was like, that's just perfect for that song. Perfect.
You just gained it out naturally.
I,
No,
It just
that was-
gained out naturally.
Well, I
Oh,
think he
they
went back
did
and
add
added.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He kind of put some distortion on my voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it really added those, it just gave it some oomph, and that anger kind of really cut through when he did that. And it was never really a thought in our mind to do that. But when we heard it, it was just like, mwah, perfect.
Heck, yeah.
Sounds like you've listened to Pat Benatar a time or two. In
I
your
was
life.
raised on Pat Benatar.
Okay. Yeah. Well, folks, we're going to do a little tale of the week, written by yours truly. That's yours truly, me. And this one is not in the book. This was one that came. So, yeah. Oh, Justin, they ain't but a couple of footnotes in this. So, yes. Okay, so after dropping out of the electronics program at Waycross Ware Vocational Tech in October of 1975, I packed up my red and white Volkswagen van and headed west to Valdosta, Georgia, to realize a dream come true. Playing music on the road for a living. Homegrown, the 5-piece Waycross, Georgia band that I was a member of, along with, I will go left to right, along with Ricky Alderman on keyboards, drummer Bruce Wood, T. Wayne Scarborough on bass. T. Wayne was originally in a 60s beach music group called King David and the Slaves out of Athens. Their lead singer was Randall Bramlett. And on the far right there is our lead guitarist, Joe Shear.
Dave sitting down.
That's Uncle Dave on the bottom. I wasn't even an uncle back then.
But he was
Yeah,
he
well,
was a bottom.
You know what? I was almost an uncle. I was just a few weeks away from my nephew Graham being born, which made me an uncle, which ended up because of Graham. That's why everybody calls me Uncle Dave now. It's 'cause- But anyhow, that's a whole nother story. So Homegrown was hired by Eddie Middleton, former lead singer for King David and the Slaves, and formerly from Albany, Georgia, to back him up at the Holiday Inn nightclub in Valdosta, known as the Inn Place, managed by Julian Boots Tudor, a barbershop quartet singer in Valdosta. Prior to hooking up with Middleton, Homegrown had built quite a local following, playing the music of the Allman Brothers, Doobie Brothers, Orleans, the Eagles, pretty much solid contemporary rock and top 40 music. After answering the call to join up with Eddie, I was introduced to soul classics and rhythm and blues for the first time as a guitar player and vocalist. It was exhilarating. I never knew I could get on up and get on down at the same time. We spent just 2 weeks at the Inn Place before being offered a lucrative job as the house band, a stone's throw away just across I-75 at the King of the Road Motor Inn. That bottom picture there is standing on the stage and looking out over the room. It was beautiful. It was like something out of Las Vegas. Red velvet wallpaper and those seashell seats, big booths on the second level up there, red naugahyde chairs, and a stage that was about 4 feet off the dance floor in a half moon shape. The room just came out in half moon, every tier getting larger than the previous one before it. It was very decadent. So we got right down. The Red Room Lounge there was wonderfully decadent and managed by a sassy redhead by the name of Nan Fielding. We got right down to business, playing 5 hours a night, Monday through Saturday, to locals, college kids, and Air Force personnel. But first, we had to look the part. This was 75, folks. Several trips to the Famous store and the Fly Shop in downtown Valdosta took care of our wardrobe, consisting of polyester double knit stacked shoes. We couldn't help but play funky. Eddie Middleton, a graduate of Valdosta State College in 1970, was well situated and had an apartment near the school. Ricky Alderman, in his final year at Waycross High, and Bruce Wood, our drummer, was still employed full-time at the Waycross Cable Company, had to commute every Monday through Friday down dreary two-lane Highway 84. Joe Shear, Wayne Scarborough, and I were given individual third-floor motel rooms at the King of the Road, just a short Otis elevator ride between the bedroom and the Red Room. Joe, Wayne, and Bruce were married men of the group, so Ricky and I were left to follow Eddie's lead. Joe and Kathy Shear were still lounging in the honeymoon phase of their new marriage. Bruce Wood's wife, Lillian, was home with their 2 young children while he was burning the candle at both ends. Wayne and Ann Scarborough brought their kids on the road with them, 3 peekapoos. The mama named Puff, mother of Hooley and Poppy. The Red Room had 3 tiered levels for dining, drinking, and dancing. Homegrown started each evening at the King of the Road with an 8:30 dinner set, playing easy listening country rock songs from Poco, Kenny Loggins, America, and the Eagles, winding up with a blistering version of Dickie Betts in memory of Elizabeth Reed, which almost always brought Nan Fielding rushing to the lip of the stage, waving a red cloth napkin, admonishing us to turn down. Eddie would come out next and ramp the evening up with an eclectic musical mix, like something out of Las Vegas. We played everything from Third Rate Romance by the Amazing Rhythm Aces and Freddie Fender, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, to Fire by the Ohio Players and How Long by Ace. As 1975 wore down to the end, a wore-down, road-weary Ricky and Bruce put in their respective notices, marking the Saturday after Christmas as their last gig with the band. But as the saying goes, the show must go on. Hating to see them go, in early 1976, Homegrown with Eddie Middleton would soon be sporting a new name, a new keyboard player, and a new drummer. Part 2 to be continued in our next episode. But the drummer and the keyboard player that we ended up getting to replace them were both from Albany. One of them, the keyboard player, is no longer with us. His name was Lee Newell, and he was a regular in the 70s at a place called the Pine Room. It's probably like a VFW or something like, or it could have just been an old bar. And it's funny, the people around Albany, they saw him so consistently at the Pine Room, they couldn't remember his name or anything, but he was a great vocalist and had him a little organ set up there, I thought, B3, I suppose it was. And he would kill it. He had a great voice. But they couldn't remember his name. They'd see him around and about Albany after, and they just took to calling him Pine Room. So that's what we called him.
I've never heard of the Pine Room.
Yeah.
That's a first one.
Yes,
I've never heard that.
It's probably faded in time. And the drummer ended up being Mark Yarborough. And he went on to Nashville after he left us and produced a record by Kim Carnes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You remember her?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was she the Betty Davis size?
Betty Davis,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. She had that. There were several hits right around there. Bonnie Tyler and Kim Carnes, they both had that
Yeah.
gruff,
Gravelly.
that
Yeah.
gravelly voice. Yep.
Yeah.
So people wanting to know more about y'all, you've got a website exclusive to.
Yeah, our website is flintlockannie.com.
Okay.
And on that website, you can find out where we're playing next. You can also download our album. If you're not into actually buying then downloading, which helps us out tremendously. So if you can, please do. The Moonshine Sin album is on our website, but we're also on Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, iTunes, all of that.
Be listened to.
Yeah. And we've got our YouTube channel, which has several of the videos with the music lyrics that I worked so hard on.
I have to go look at the website more often.
That is a chore.
And I had a friend of mine's like, we want to know the words. We want to know what you're saying. And I'm like, okay, this will only take about 4 hours per video. Cool. Yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, we've got our YouTube, we've got our Facebook, we've got our Instagram, we've got our actual website. So, and we're also on Twitter. So yeah, on all the social media. We're not on TikTok yet. And I'm really fighting that so
I'm fighting
hard.
that as well.
I don't want to do that.
Like, what have I got to do with this?
Yeah.
'Cause
I'm not funny. I don't know.
It's like you got to come up with a whole nother thing
yeah.
of short videos.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and it can't just be, it could be just a song, but like most of it is like trying to be humorous with this or that.
Yeah. And as one of our songs says, I'm not that clever.
Yeah.
I think you're selling yourself a little short there.
Well, thank you.
I think I'd be great on TikTok. I could do a tale of the TikTok.
I'd follow that. I'd follow that.
And it'd be like just shorten it up and just condense it down to.
Uncle Talk.
I could condense it down to 30 seconds. A full tale of the week in 30 seconds.
I think you'd have a hard time.
This, you got that.
I think you'd have a hard time with that.
Got this other.
You'd get out. It was a Thursday. It was 1975, and the wind was blowing from the east. And then
That's it.
It'd be like a voice message when you're leaving it, and I'm just barely got 3 words out of my mouth, and it's like, if you're satisfied with this, TikTok be cutting me off. I'd be so long-winded.
And then they'd be following you for the rest of the story.
Yeah. Well, we certainly appreciate y'all being on here with us.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah, we appreciate you having us. I've loved what you guys are doing, and I enjoy your podcast and watching and listening. So we are so excited that you guys contacted us, and
Yeah,
we've
this
had
is
a blast tonight.
good.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
pretty good for a Monday night.
And this
Wait, is it Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And this is kind of was our first meeting with y'all. So
Yeah, thank you guys. We appreciate it.
we have to have you back down the line.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Do something else, There's always new stories to
New
tell.
stories.
Always.
Road stories.
well, folks, if y'all like Flintlock Annie as much as we do now, you'll be checking them out. And just go to flintlockannie.com and you can find out all about them and where they're playing and listen to them, and you'll become new fans. just like us.
That's right.
And thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.
When the cold black water finds its way across through your veins, it just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate.